Good evening. My name is Frederick Proctor, and this is my video informal observation number 3 reflection on the past 2 videos that have been done for this semester. As you can see from the previous videos, in videos 1 and 2, we were talking about a host of data from the first 9 weeks, second 9 weeks, and the third 9 weeks of this school year. And each video progressed with a series of data points and data topics that related to the way our campus has pivoted and driven instruction thus far throughout the year to get to the point where we're at now, which is the state assessment start time. Me, Dr. Singh, Dr. Rhymes, who is our assessment data specialist, have analyzed a bunch of data quite a bit of data this semester to prepare us to get to this point that we're at. So in this reflection, I just want to highlight some points that we discussed in the video observation number 3 with my instructional specialist, or IS, Miss Gay. Now, keep in mind, Miss Gay did not join us until mid-year, around mid-year. So right after Christmas, she joined us. So a lot of things that we were doing at the beginning of the year were kind of like on the fly. We didn't have a lot of organization to the structure because we did not have an IS and to lead the way. And so a lot of structures and in-class things were done individually, and was a lot of autonomy given to a lot of teachers to try to get the curriculum and the instruction out to the kids. And thus, we've seen a drop in performance for my kids when the second 9 weeks exams rolled out. With that being said, in the video observation number 3, you can see and witness that me and Miss Gay and Miss Ivy and Miss Baldwin, we were discussing the progress of the 6th graders in this particular case on how they did on the formative assessment and the benchmark to get some real-time data on exactly where they're at. And our focus was on the fact that some of our kids that are labeled GT, gifted and talented, and some of our kids that are labeled SPED, all did about the same on the assessment, which raises some eyebrows of, are those kids properly placed, which affects our data because those kids taking the GT course or the test are taking a higher level of rigor and instruction on the test. But the question is, are they ready for that? So we discussed those things, which could hurt our percentage as far as data, because those kids are not taking the correct instruction. They're not getting the correct instruction, and they're not taking the proper exam, thus making our scores look very, very low. Now, one thing we did point out is that we had some SPED kids, some kids that are labeled SPED, that scored very high. So we're looking at a couple of things here. Are these kids placed in the correct instructional environment, or are they misplaced in the instructional environment? So we took in a lot of factors with our data, and we're trying to analyze it the best way we can and make sure that we get real-time data and make sure we get correct, accurate data. That way we can analyze it and make sure that we're on the right path to the things that we're trying to accomplish this year. You can see how we pivoted with the instruction of just a lot of our teachers were up just lecturing and not really had a system in place or a procedure in place on how the class was supposed to be ran. I am an instructional support for special education, which means that I push into the classroom and I service these kids by adding support to them and to the teacher and to other kids in the classroom. However, a lot of these kids that are in the classroom require more than the instruction or services that are being given, which means, are they misplaced? So you spend a lot of time with one or two kids sometimes, and you lose track and focus of the other kids, and you realize that out of 27 kids, 15 of these kids are labeled SPED or in-class support services needed it. And with me and just another teacher, how are we operating in the class? Well, you have some teachers that don't want to relinquish that duty and they want to do the class all by themselves, which leaves you in a space that you are trying to figure out where to best service these kids. And sometimes you get hung up just servicing one or two kids a period because you're trying to figure out exactly what the teacher is doing. Now, granted, we have CBPLs, but though, like I said, things are at the end of the year and on a downhill slope where things are just getting structured on our campus. Now, our test scores have went up, and I can say that is due to part of our new IS that came in midstream and have implemented a lot of different things into the classroom model. And now we're doing a lot of co-teacher model. We're doing a lot of station rotations. We're doing a lot of different things that wasn't done in the beginning. And now you've able, as you've seen in part 2 of the other video with me and Mr. Kegler, our principal, that the uptick in our data is steady going up because of these new implemented strategies that we have. Now, that's a good thing, because moving forward and with the steam rolling into the new year for next year, these are things that instead of on the back end implementing, now we can implement on the front end. And so we take a lot of things in. We've been meeting as a team. We've been meeting as a leadership team. We've been meeting as a math team and going over the different things that we need to do to progress and make sure that our data continues to increase throughout the year and at a steady pace. And not only that, that we're consistent in the strategies and the pivoting that we're doing in the classroom. So that's one thing that we discussed, and one thing that we were really looking at is the consistency in the data and what teaks are the kids actually struggling on? What teaks are they excelling on? If the teaks are being excelled and the kids are getting high percentages on the teaks, then we need to scaffold down and pick up those teaks that the kids are struggling on and lend more time to those teaks. Put those teaks more in our station rotation. And then with that being said, we can spiral back to the teaks that they're more higher at, just to make sure that they still have a grasp on those teaks. We discussed the time, and one thing that we were concerned about in our data is the attendance of our kids. A lot of our kids, they come and they go and they're not here, so they miss a lot of instruction time. And so in this reflection, that's one thing that I wish and I hope that we continue to get better at, and that is pushing our attendance so that the instructional time is not wasted and we're not spiraling back so far back that we're losing ground on the things that need to be done and taken care of to prepare to move forward. Right now, I think we're sitting at about 85 to 90% attendance, which is kind of low. You want to be sitting at more of a 95, 96, 97 range. So that's a quite a bit amount of kids that's out, which means they're losing instruction, which means that the score is probably not going to look like we won. But thus far, the last month or so, I can say that our attendance have been pretty high. We've put a push out to parents We've had meetings, family engagement meetings with parents and different community people coming in to help, different volunteers coming in to help, and make sure that we get the attendance out. We send in emails and e-points and what they call talking points for the kids to make sure that the parents get out about attendance and that the STAR is coming up, and that it is imperative that they are here every single day. Okay? Every single day counts for these kids. Our data over the year is going to really dig us out of a hole, because right now, for the last maybe 5 to 6 years, I think we've been an F-rated campus. So, what is that saying, Coach Proctor? Which means our accountability rating is an F. We're not coming to school. We're not performing to the district or state expectations on assessments. So we need these kids to put their all in to this assessment coming up at the end of the month. So next week, on the 9th, we take the first round of STAR assessments for the state, which is ELA. ELA has really been holding it down. Their scores have been phenomenal. We also have a new IS that came in midstream for ELA. However, we do have some of the strongest teachers on our campus in our ELA department. They've been there. They're seasoned vets. However, on the back end of math, all new teachers, some associate teachers, 1 or 2 teachers have never taught math at all. So you can see the gap in not only the curriculum and the instruction, but you can also see the inconsistency to keep the staff that are highly qualified in the math positions, which does hurt our overall score as a campus, because all those scores are computed and put it together into one score. And we all know that in domain 2 of the accountability rating and the profile and the talk reports and stuff, that you have to score pretty good and you have to get all those points in domain 2. So that's what we're looking at as far as data. Our plan moving forward to go into next year and for the rest of this semester is to continue our station rotations. It's something that we've implemented. It's something that has worked, and we don't want to get away from it right now. We're building a lot of steam moving into the end of the year, and we want our kids to finish strong. And so we're continuing the station rotations. We move into the cafeteria on some days, and we have maybe 4 or 5 teachers in there teaching nothing but math, because it's me, another teacher, the IS, and the other math teacher. And all four of us are in there at one time, and the kids are moving from station to station. And when I say station to station, some kids are getting direct instruction, some kids are getting small group, some kids are getting technology-based instruction, and some kids are doing some kind of hands-on spiraling station as well. Now, we're talking about 25, maybe 50 kids in there at one time. And we spread them out in the different stations, and the kids are quizzing each other. They're making flashcards. They're making anchor charts. They're doing all kind of things. And since we've implemented this type of structure, we have seen some success. And I am happy and I'm pleased with where we're headed. This year, the STAR test should render some pretty good scores, and we should dig ourselves out. As of the STAR interim and the last district assessment we took, if we were to do a rating and everything right now, based on the scores that we had at Christmas and at the last assessment, we would have pulled ourselves from an F to at least a B right now. So that's good news. That's a win. We'll take it. So we're going to continue to strive to keep structure in the classrooms, classroom management. We're going to continue to monitor the data to make sure that we're implementing the strategies that we've implemented throughout the year at midstream to get to where we're at now. and continue to do station rotations, continue to get positive feedback from the teachers like we did in Observation 3 from Ms. Ivy and Ms. Baldwin. Continue to work closely with our IS, continue to work closely with our admin team and our data assessment specialists to make sure that everybody's on the same page so we can continue to see the uptick in our data on our campus. So I think we're moving in the right direction. I believe we are moving in the right direction. So we're going to see what happens here in the next couple of weeks, and I will keep you guys posted. And I really thank you, and I appreciate all that you have done for me this semester. And I hope to see you soon and finish out the semester. Thank you.